Hello everyone and welcome to another Marvel Crisis Protocol themed unboxing. It's the run up to Christmas and this is going to be a little bit shorter because we're just covering CP162, which is Abomination and the Wrecking Crew. Unfortunately, I get my Crisis Protocol from my channel sponsor now, and unfortunately they've been having a little bit of a problem getting Mephisto in stock, so that's probably going to have to wait until the new year at this point by the time they get it. Sad, but that's what can you do. If the stock doesn't arrive, they can't ship it out. So this came out at least. So we're going to look at this today, and I'm more familiar with the Wrecking Crew than I would have been thanks to Marvel Champions, so it's good that I waited because now I actually know about them, because they're available for that, and I've been enjoying that a lot recently. Definitely wanted Abomination, and now I'm not so averse to the Wrecking Crew. Now I'm more familiar with them. On the back of the box, there is the blurb about the lore. The lore for the Wrecking Crew is particularly stupid, so I definitely encourage you to pause the video now and read it. And with that, let's open it up. Take a look. I would describe this as a Thanos sized box if you're looking for comparisons, because there is a lot of sprue in this box. We have protective cardboard, very important. We have waste of space bit of paper because they don't do assembly instructions in boxes anymore because they're cheap. We have our cards, and then we have the big bundle of sprue. So both of them are on Hulk size bases. The latter of which should not be surprising because he's Abomination. Not themed, it's just your bog standard size ones. The Wrecking Crew does have quite a lot of rubble around them though, so I imagine that we want the flatter of the two. Well, maybe that one. Yeah, actually on the official one, that Abomination is using this one because you can see this here. So I guess for the official paint job, that one's used like that for the Wrecking Crew. You don't have to do that, but that's what they've done with it. Then we have a bundle of sprue. This looks like the base for where the Wrecking Crew are all standing, so yeah, that's what I was just talking about. This big chunk of rock is where they're all sitting. Ideally, I guess if you're wanting to paint them well, you're not going to want to glue them into this, but from a friend who's already painted them telling me, you can kind of slot them in and they'll sit okay. You'll still want to glue them in eventually, but just for seeing how they'll sit, keeping them one by one so you can paint them easier, it's very possible. And then the other part of the Wrecking Crew sprue is down here. At least I think. Yep. Then we have the various weapons, etc. And then for Abomination, it is stuck in there and wrecking the bag on the way out. How on earth did they get it in this without tearing the bag? That is a feat. As an F-E-A-T. So Abomination, he comes with gigantic pieces, so it's not going to be that difficult to assemble him, even if you wanted to do it by eye. There's his face down there, so very chunky, and yeah, he is sitting on a big sign between 3rd Avenue and East 63rd Street. I don't know if those locations are relevant. Is that where they fought in the Incredible Hulk movie? That is MCU canon, even though it's a different actor playing Hulk. It could be a reference. They like the references. Sprue looks good, and it looks easy enough to assemble. Then we have our abundance of card, most of which is going straight into the recycling because it's in different languages. Joy. So, let's look this out. That ain't English. The English on this side, yep, there is English, English, English. Oh, we're only getting 3? Is it actually only 3? 4 Team Tactics cards it says. That's definitely not English. This is French. That's still French. That's German. That's English. That's not... That is a bad order to put that in. Alright. That must be by mistake. So there's our 4 cards we'll look at properly in a second. Hopefully get them in focus. It's struggling. There we are. Stronger Together. That's some great art, by the way. Mystic Menace. You'll do as I say, monster. And Gamma Burst. So that is the 4 cards. And then we have Emil Blonsky, which is the Abomination. And we have the Wrecking Crew underneath. And then we have a bunch of recycling. How nice of them to give me something to do as a chore. Very much appreciated, and definitely not silly that that's the most cost-effective thing for them to do. And I know I mention it every time, but it is so unacceptable that that is the accepted way of doing this. Anywho, let's look at these tactics cards. Again, great art on Stronger Together. It's an unaffiliated active for the Wrecking Crew. They can spend 3 to play this card. Choose a character of its size 4 or less within 4 that was attacked by the Wrecking Crew this activation. If the chosen character was attacked once by the Wrecking Crew, throw it away small. If they were attacked twice, throw it away medium. If they were attacked 3 or more times, throw it away large or long. That's neat. So yeah, I guess they've got shenanigans that let them do up to 3 attacks or some other fashion, because there is 4 of them, to be fair. That's a neat card. And again, I love the art on that. That's really cool art. Mystic Menace. Spider-Man when he has Doctor Strange's magic be like. During the power phase, an allied Wrecking Crew can spend 1 to play this card until this character is dazed or until the end of the round. When an enemy character ends a movement within 2 of him, the character gains Hex. That's okay, especially if you've put them in a crew that wants a bunch of status effects. It's a nice way to get Hex on everybody. Hex is an underrated status element. It doesn't pop up enough to be noticed for how effective it is to deny crits rolling extra dice. You will do as I say, monster. Also very cool art. Unaffiliated active during George Tarleton, aka MODOK. Using his name so both versions of MODOK can use this card. If he is within 2 of an allied Abomination, he may spend 5 to play this card. He throws Abomination medium, so you're paying 5. I presume he's size 3, right? He's size 4, sorry. So yeah, you're chucking him and potentially doing 5 damage for 5 power. It's fine, I suppose. 5 is expensive though, that's a big ask. 4 would have made this really good, but 5, Gamma Burst, which is him bursting around War Machine, and who's that in the bottom right there? Hercules? I think that's Hercules. Good art. The art's consistently good on all these cards. During his activation, Abomination can spend 3 to play this card. Push each enemy character with the poison special condition which he likes giving out. Within 2 of him, away medium. Every character that was pushed this way suffers 1 damage. It's kind of like, what was it, Midnight Phantasmagoria card for, what's his face? The Dark Elf, whose name, Malekith, that's the one I was blanking on. Kind of like an equivalent for him. And finally on to the status cards. Let's look at Abomination first. So yeah, Abomination was who I mostly wanted this box for. He's cool, he matches up well size-wise to Immortal Hulk, but he has a completely different style of play, which I appreciate. He is a 5-threat character, 4-3-3 defense, 7 health, size 4 medium move. He's got a basic strike, but it's 7 dice, with poison on wilds, and a push on a wild and a hit, and there's no size restrictions on the push. It's only small, but that's still pretty good. He can chuck debris. I think he's holding a bit of stone, isn't he, on his model. That costs him 0. It's only 5 dice. It gives him 1 flat power generation, and it's range 3. Then he has his big spender, which is Gamma Bomb, which is great. It only costs 4 power for 8 dice. It's range 3. After this attack is resolved, if it dealt damage, the target gets poisoned, and again, poison plays into these rules down here. After this attack is resolved, you get placed within 1 of the target character. If you get a wild before the damage is dealt, you get to chuck him if he's size 4 or less small. So you can chuck him, get placed within 1, and actually use this to like keep up with him and make some distance. He's already a medium move, so that's not super necessary, but hey. For 3 power, he can use I'm the Strongest There Is. Choose an interactive terrain piece, size 4 or less within 2, and throw it long. Can only be used once per turn, and it is only terrain, it's not people, which is, I never like that distinction really. Radiation Zone, this is an important one, for also 3 power, he likes having a lot of power. Each enemy character within 2 gets poisoned, also that would mean Strucker would love him. And then anyone with the poison condition suffers 2. Oh sorry, no, other order. Each character with poison within range 2 suffers 2 damage, then each enemy character within 2 is poisoned. So sadly he doesn't poison then damage. He damages you if you're already poisoned, then he poisons you. The wording and the order is very important there. Each character that gained poison in this way loses 1 power, which is also very important. Gamma Mutated Hide, if he would suffer any amount of damage, lower it by 1 to a minimum of 1. After this effect is resolved, if this character suffered damage, it gains power. So that's another way he can gain power. In the power phase he gets 1 extra, so he gets 2 in total. So that's how he's only generating 1 flat power on his strike as well, which I forgot to mention. That's generating 1 flat power, hurl debris, 1 flat power, Power phase is getting 2, and if he survives getting hit, he generates power that way as well. He's immune to poison because he loves giving out poison, and on his flip side, he stays at 7 health. So for a 5 threat character, 14 health in total is a little on the lower side compared to equivalent, but still okay, especially because he's got that damage reduction. I believe nothing else changes on this side. I believe it is exactly the same. But yeah, pretty cool character, and it's nice that they have found a way to make him feel very different to how the Hulk plays, and Immortal Hulk for that matter. And yeah, I think Strucker would absolutely love Abomination because of all the poison he's helping give out. Just at a glance and off the cuff, that seems like a good mix to me to put him with a Hydra team. And finally, the 4 making up the Wrecking Crew, which I don't remember all their names, honestly. I just always remember that the main guy is called Wrecker, and he has a magic crowbar. Because of something that Thor did, or I can't remember. It's silly. Anyway, their basic attack is range 3, 5 dice. Oh, sorry to go through their basic stats. They are a 4 threat group. 6 health, 4, 3, 4, so their base defenses are actually better than Abomination's because he's only got 3 mystic. They're only size 2, they only move small, but they are on that huge base, that Hulk-sized base, so they can clear distance pretty well. Pile Driver is 6 dice, range 2 for no cost. Oh, sorry, also they have Thunderous Impact on their basic. Instructable, which is after attack's resolved, the target character is stunned as long as you get a hit, and it generates 1 flat power. Pile Driver, after this attack is resolved, if damage was dealt and the target character is size 3 or less, this character may push it away small, so it's a may, not a must. You can also do a suplex if you get a wild. The target character gets stun and stagger. That's the good part, especially because this attack is free, so you might as well fish for the stagger. Then they have a Mystic attack, which is free. 4 dice only, it's beam 4 though. After the range tool is placed for this attack, destroy all size 2 or smaller interactive terrain, because he's chucking the magic crowbar through everything. Add 1 die to the attack roll made for each bit of terrain destroyed this way. After the attack's resolved, you get 1 flat power. After each attack is resolved, if you're hitting multiple targets, if damage was dealt, they gain stagger and are thrown away small. Not pushed, thrown. So that is a really powerful ability. It's only 4 dice, you really want to specifically be throwing through some smaller scenery to do it, to get those extra dice, but having 2 chances on free attacks to deal stagger out is real powerful, and that being a throw, not a push, is also really good. Then we have Bulldoze. This is very similar to how Juggernaut works, I think. It costs 3 power, push this character medium, it doesn't stop if it comes into contact with size 2 or lower terrain, you destroy it instead. If you run into someone, you do 1 contact damage, then they stop as normal. Let's take them down, boys, for also 3 power. After an attack made by this character during its activation is resolved, it may use this superpower. This character makes an attack action and must choose an attack it has not yet used this activation. You can only use it once per turn. So you can do one of these 3 attacks that all cost nothing. You can do another one of these attacks that all cost nothing. And then you spend 3 power and do the attack you haven't done yet. And that's how you do 3 attacks in 1 turn, which plays into the tactics card we looked at before. Enchanted by Carnilla in the power phase, they gain 1 additional power, so they're getting 2 in the power phase as well. Pretty good. Seems like a really decent 4 threat that just loves handing out stagger like candy. On the flip side, I believe they stay the same. At least stamina has stayed the same, and I don't see anything new listed on any of the attacks. Now obviously their effectiveness is going to be diminished if you don't have a bunch of size 2 terrain to smash through, or to throw the enchanted crowbar through. But even then, you might as well just roll the dice, because you're wanting to... What was the criteria for handing out that stagger on the magical crowbar? Let's see. You have to have dealt damage. Oh wait, no, the target has to have the stagger condition. Never mind, I misread it. It's not as good as I thought. After the attack is rolled, if damage was dealt and the target has the stagger condition, you throw it. Yeah, so it wants you to work down this like a flowchart then. So the only way they have to hand out stagger is getting a wild on suplex. So you've got to get a wild on those 6 dice. Then you can either use this as your second ability, or via Take 'em Down Boys, do it as your third ability, and that's when it gets the throw. It has to deal damage, so you're still wanting to go through scenery because it's only 4 dice otherwise. Okay, that's not as good, but it's a 4 threat character, so I was thinking. Pretty good though, yeah. I still definitely prefer Abomination and the options he opens up with all that poison he gives out, but the Wrecking Crew not as like they're not as bad as the Howling Commandos in terms of just being like who cares, which is why I never picked those up. And that, as they say, that is everything you get in CP162 for Marvel Crisis Protocol, Abomination and the Wrecking Crew. I picked these up from my channel sponsor using store credit, as I think I mentioned. That's where I get it from. Check them out in the description box below if you want. If you go through the affiliate link, I also get compensated. And it's just going to just be them. Hopefully in the new year I'll get Mephisto and some other stuff I'm being after, and I'll do some unboxings on them in the new year. Until then though, I'm going to go recycle a bunch of cards. Thank you for watching, and ta-ta for now.